Hello. Welcome back to the channel, Watch Fam. This is Jimmy with Jimi Time, and thank you for clicking on another video. Today I am super excited to talk to you about a watch that I am extremely excited about, and that is the Oak Oscar Atwood Chronograph. Before we get started, I am going to do a quick wrist check, and I am wearing the Oak Oscar white GMT Humboldt, which is a fitting watch for this. This is just one of my favorite chronographs in the collection. I've had it for just about 2 weeks now, and I have probably worn it 10 days. And so if you know me, wearing a single watch for 10 days is a significant milestone, but this watch is stunning, and I had a really hard time pulling it off the wrist. So I'm going to back all the way up and tell you why I was excited about this watch. So I had messaged the owners of Oak Oscar several times. Anytime they pop up on the message board, anytime they're responding to the Hodiki, I have said something about releasing another chronograph. Oak Oscar, up until the last couple years, you could only get their watches if you were lucky enough and was able to get it before it pre-ordered or pre-sold out in hours. They're not a boutique brand, more independent with a really strong following. For years I wanted to get my hands on the Sanford, which is their compression style case, still one of my favorite watches I haven't been able to find. I was able to source a Burnham about 2 years ago, which I was really excited about. Fast forward a couple months, I am out of the watch game, I'm working, had been really busy with things at work, and so I missed that they came out with a chronograph, and I am scrolling through Hodiki just about a few months ago, and Lord behold, what do I see? Oak Oscar dropped a new chronograph, and it is a beauty. The Atwood in 3 different colors. So there's 3 different dial types, and if there was a watch I would collect all colors, this would be the one. There's white, which is very similar in the loom style as my Humboldt GMT. I actually think the white is one of the better looking versions, but because I already had the white Humboldt, I chose to go with the blue variant, which is an amazing looking variant as well. I love blue chronographs, and I love the splash of orange. And then you have the black Panda. So you have the blue Panda, you have reverse Panda, and you have the black and white Panda, all with their respective splash of orange, which is a Oak Oscar staple. So needless to say, after waiting a really long time since the Jackson, and to see that Oak Oscar was releasing a chronograph that was manually wound, that was not limited, I was super excited. Let's dive into some of the specs on this watch and why I think this is probably one of the best chronographs released in 2024. For starters, are the case dimensions. The watch looks a little bit bigger than what it wears, or than what it looks, but on the wrist, this is actually a really low profile. You know, chronographs usually can run north of 14, all the way up to 17 millimeters thick, particularly if they're volume-based or automatic-based movements, because of the complication of the movement. The Oak Oscar comes in just under 13 millimeters at 12.9 millimeters thick, and that is with the crystal included. You have a manual wound movement that we'll talk about a little bit later. The case is 39 millimeters and a 46 millimeter lug to lug. This watch can accommodate wrist sizes all the way down to 6 inches, which I think looks fantastic. My wrist is 7¼ inches, and I think it looks incredible. The 46 millimeter lugs sits perfectly and allows it to be worn in a lot of different situations. It can be a little bit more understated and low profile. This watch looks incredible on NATOs. I immediately changed out the light brown strap, which I own for my Oak Oscar Humboldt, and I put it on this leather strap, which it will probably not come off of. I actually think this pairing looks really incredible. You get 50 meters of water resistance, and according to Oak Oscar, that really does mean 50 meters of water resistance, so you can do light swimming in this watch as long as you do not activate the chronograph pushers underwater. Staying on the outside of the case, I really love these pump pushers. I didn't really touch on this yet, but this is a Flyback chronograph, which is very rare. You don't see these in the market. Usually Flyback chronographs are going to run you north of $6,000. I had the Frederic Constant manufactured Flyback chronograph, which is extremely rare. They use a modular chronograph movement to be able to have the Flyback functionality. To have a Flyback chronograph come under $2,500 is very rare. I think the cheapest that I know about is by Furlan Murray's, and that's going to be north of $3,000. This comes in at $2,400, and it's just really incredible. They're able to do this. They're using the Sellita Movement AMT 5100 This is a very high-grade movement that you do not see on a lot of watches. It is a manually wind flyback chronograph movement. So Oak and Oscar always go towards the top end of their watch movements. Even back in the day when everybody was using ETA, they were using Eterna-based movements, which I always thought held a little bit more prestige and higher esteem in movement ranking. These at 4 hertz, and you also get a vertical clutch and a blued collar wheel. The movement actually looks really, really beautiful when you flip it over. Has a lot of nice perlage and decorating, and then the blued collar wheel that you can visibly see just looks amazing. Again, this is a flyback chronograph, and I love these huge pop pushers. Particularly because it's a flyback chronograph. Activating the flyback mechanism is very satisfying. You get a very satisfying click and crunch. It is a very smooth action and operating, and the flyback action is quick, and it's right back on. This is an incredibly designed watch and chronograph package for what you're getting at $2,500. I also love the fact that you have these huge pushers. You also get an upsized crown, and this makes it really easy with really bold knurlings to do the winding. I really enjoy winding the watch, and it's a quick wind. Given the watch has actually pretty decent power reserve at 58 hours. Getting to my favorite part of every Oak Oscar watch, and probably my favorite part of every watch, let's talk about this dial. So we have a very unique 3-register chronograph. Usually you're going to see the chronograph on most micro-brand chronographs at 12, 9, and 6. Instead, you're going to get 9, 6, and 3, which is very similar to like the Romania movement layout, so think the Omega Speedmaster. So we have a tri-compact 3-register chronograph, very similar to a Daytona, which again, very few chronographs have that panda look. So if you're looking for something that's panda style, that's not a direct Daytona homage, this would be something I would give a hard look. I love the attention to detail to put the tachymeter scale, which is not a feature that I use a lot, on the rehawk. This saves a lot of dial space and make this 39mm chronograph have a little bit more wrist presence, and I actually think it's the perfect size for about every single wrist that's out there. You get the sandwich dial execution, so this uses BWG9 Superluminova as well. Underneath the cutouts, and this watch shines beautifully bright blue when the lights are turned off and it is fully charged. The blue is a very midnight blue, so a dark navy blue, and we get a very bright orange second hand with orange accents on each of the subdials. So on the 30-minute, you get these 10-minute blocks of orange, and then on the hour and minute counter, you're going to have the hash marks in orange. So just adding just a splash of color. In certain lights, the dial can look black. It almost looks like the black, white, and orange variant. But in certain lights, you definitely can see the navy blue pop. Think Syracuse in color, very similar, and I would tell you, or even maybe the Illinois Fighting Illini. The Fighting Illini would make the most sense, being that this watch is out of Chicago. The watch, the Atwood, is named from, I want to say Chris Atwood, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that he was a famous city planner in Chicago. Most of the Oak and Oscar watches, their names are named after famous people from the city of Chicago, as that is where the Oak and Oscar headquarters is based. So my thoughts on the Atwood, of course, I am a fanboy, so I want to be very, very thoughtful. There's definitely bias, but I really enjoy this watch. This is a beautiful watch. I really love putting it on and just looking at the time. It is a very warm and inviting watch. The navy with the pops of orange really presents a really nice aesthetic. At 12.9mm thick, this can easily slide under most dress cuffs. It's a little bit dressier of a chronograph than what I already have, and I actually like that. I actually love that Oak and Oscar decided to go with a matte finish or a brush finish on the case. I have a lot of things that are high polished, and I believe that this brush finishing gives an American / Midwest feel while also having like this dapper appearance to it. So for some reason, whenever I grab this, I want to grab like my favorite flannel or my favorite denim shirt, because I think it just really, really pairs well. Watch retails for $2,500, or a little bit under $2,500. There's a lot of watch brands, there are a lot of great watches that deserve your attention, but this is a personal hobby and collecting is personal, so find the watches that really, really speak to you and buy what you love. So with that said, thank you for clicking on another video. If you have not done so already, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. I have been humbled to see that we have over 1,600 subscribers here so far, and I am excited to see that number continue to grow. So this is Jimmy signing off. I will see you all soon.